Just 4 rounds remain in what has been a very exciting 2025 season of Monster Energy AMA Supercross. This weekend, Metlife Stadium in New Jersey will be the host of a day race starting at 3 o'clock Eastern on Saturday afternoon. Metlife Stadium is the home of the NFL's New York Giants and New York Jets because it's just right outside of New York City. The stakes are high with an all-time close championship battle in the 250 East and a great dynamic fight in the 450 class. Chase Sexton getting the win last weekend in Philadelphia means if he could win out and end the season on a 5-race win streak, he would make the math easy. No matter where Cooper Webb would finish, Sexton would either be tied or take the point lead by the end of the year, and he would win a tiebreaker by having the most wins. But that's if he ended the season on a win streak, so he needs to maximize the result every weekend, including this one. So let's get to it. This is the weekend preview. I'm Sarah Whitmore Smodgy, and our injury report will be brought to you by our friends at Leatt, the science of thrill. As for the New Jersey race, of course it's an open stadium, of course it's the springtime, and of course it's the Northeast. You know this from the previous rounds. Everyone will be watching the weather. We learned in Foxborough, if it rains on Saturday, everyone's in trouble. We learned in Philadelphia, if it doesn't rain the day of the race, it'll turn out rutted, but be pretty darn good. Now, this northeastern swing and this weather has certainly been tough on the SMX track crew and Dirtworks and everyone at Feld and the AMA that put these races on. Earlier this week, our Mitch Kendra was able to catch up with the operations man for Supercross, Mike Muye, for his thoughts.
What's it like being able to bring those races here onto the East Coast?
Yeah, I mean, for years we've done kind of the East Rutherford Foxborough rotation, um, and have seen a lot of growth. Introduced Philadelphia last year to tremendous success. So, there's a large contingent of the U.S. population is in that Northeast area. So we want to continue to grow in that spot. So it's awesome. Working with these major league base or major league stadiums has been phenomenal. Obviously, Foxborough, Philly, East Rutherford, all of those folks are top notch and supportive of what we're doing. And then, moving into Pittsburgh, A class facility all the way around. The team there is excited about us. They've come to a couple now. They were in Nashville last year at the start of this. They're in Foxborough a couple of weeks ago because they want to learn it and they want to see Supercross there for a long time.
As for the rest of the track, here's former pro Jason Thomas.
Welcome to East Rutherford, New Jersey, and for once in quite a while, we might have a racetrack that is not influenced by the weather. And you look at this racetrack and try to think, who does it favor and why? Now, immediately I look at the two whoop sections that are back to back, and what does that set up? Well, that first run-in to the first set, that's going to allow riders to have a lot of momentum going into those whoops. So you think about the riders that like to blitz, Chase Sexton, Malcolm Stewart, Aaron Plessinger, Ken Roxon. That's going to be a really nice setup for them. They're going to be able to use and utilize their entry speed to carry momentum across the top of those. And then that second set, maybe you can stick to the inside. So Justin Cooper Webb will be able to strike back in that second set. But watch for those back-to-back whoops to play a big role, not only in the lap times, but also for areas to pass. Look at this start. Similar to last week, a little bit shorter, but the big difference here is that it crosses over 2 lanes before it comes back into the racetrack. And where that really plays out is if you think about where the crashes were last week into that first corner, it's because it was so tight. They immediately bent back on the first corner. So everybody's braking really hard, and the apex there is extremely sharp. This weekend will be a little bit longer of a corner. Riders won't have to brake quite as hard, and they can push a little bit deeper into that corner, carry a longer arc before folding back into the first corner. So maybe we see less contact there. The only other aspect I would say is this shorter start, riders don't have as much room to separate, so they're going to be a little bit closer entering that first corner, which does lead to a little bit more bar banging than normal. Rest of the racetrack, pretty busy. Watch for some big rhythm sections put together along the sideline section. I think there's an opportunity to triple, double. That's going to be big. If the 250s can put that together, that's going to be a big time saver. But overall, we have a great racetrack. And finally, we may have one that's dry and riders can put together the track the way that the SMX track crew originally designed.
Thank you, JT. Let's mention that all-time close 250 East Division. Right now, RJ Hampshire, despite having plenty of obstacles thrown his way, has made his way to the top of the standings. He is tied with Seth Hamaker for the 250 Supercross East points lead, and Tom Vial is just 2 points behind. That's 2 points separating 3 riders with 3 East races to go. In the 450s, we already told you the score. Webb holds a 12-point edge over Chase Sexton. Now to the injury report brought to you by Leatt, the science of thrill. What's interesting is the 450 injury list is actually dwindling. Justin Barsha has a finger injury, but he's still racing. We know Ken Roxon is suffering with an ankle and shoulder injuries, but he's still racing. Jason Anderson is out with an undisclosed health situation, according to his team, Monster Energy Kawasaki. And everyone else that's out are riders that you already know about. Hunter Lawrence, Jet Lawrence, Jorge Prado, and Eli Tomac. But there have not been any recent additions to the out-of-action list in the 450s. 250 East? Well, there are a lot of injuries there. Daxton Bennick suffered a concussion and back injury last week. He's at least out for this weekend. He also suffered a concussion a few weeks ago, so get well soon, Dax. Max Anstey out with a broken leg. Pierce Brown out with a broken back. Casey Cochran out with a broken leg. Maddie Jorgensen out with a broken collarbone after recovering from a broken hand. Levi Kitchen is back on the motorcycle, but he's still out with back and collarbone injuries. Gage Linville did so great to finish 3rd in the mud at Foxborough, suffered a concussion, rib, lung, shoulder, and back injuries with a nasty crash in Philadelphia. Lorenzo Lacurcio injured his ankle recently while out of the country. He's out for Supercross. Cameron McAdoo out with a torn ACL. Carson Mumford hurt his leg in a pileup in Birmingham where he was riding very fast. Not quite sure on his status for the weekend, but more than likely he'll be out. Hardy Munoz had a crash in Philadelphia, but he is in for the weekend. Chad Schultz, big back injury. We remind you again to go to Road to Recovery to help out Chad. Devin Simonson with Club MX will return to racing this weekend. He injured his wrist before the season began. This will be his 2025 debut this Saturday in New Jersey. And finally, Jalik Swoll out with an Achilles injury. That's the weekend preview. We look forward to seeing the action unfold Saturday afternoon at Metlife Stadium.